This video is brought to you by my two books, Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist and The Blues Guitar Bible. Want to learn about modes, harmony, scales, chord substitution and keys? Or maybe you're interested in supercharging your blues guitar rhythm and lead chops. Whatever you're interested in, I guarantee you will be hitting the fast lane to progress with either of these works. Both feature video demonstrations and tutorials, loads of tabs and jam tracks to play along with, and I promise you, everything is explained in crystal clear plain English. Check out the links in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now, if that little piece of music there made you feel numb and comfortable in some small way, then there's a good reason for that. Basically, I was using a particular songwriting technique, a way of putting a chord sequence together that you will find in the works of Pink Floyd and the Beatles, and Billy Joel, and Elton John, and Lynyrd Skynyrd, and Led Zeppelin, and Aerosmith. Basically everybody does it, okay, across every genre of popular music, from soul and funk through to, you know, classic rock, you know, kind of country, blues, just everything. Name a genre of music in the popular music canon, name any artist that you can think of in any of those genres, and they've done this particular songwriting technique. So it's probably worth knowing about then, isn't it? Well, luckily for you, I've got some information for you.
Here is the explanation.
Okay, if you were watching last week, you'll know that the way you can find the major chords in any given key is just find the tonic chord, the one chord, the chord that the key is named after, using this bar chord shape. This is a D. And if I want to know what major chords are in the key of D, I go like this. I go D, then I go to an A shape at the same fret. That gives me a G, and then I move that up 2 frets. that gives me an A chord. Those are the three major chords in any major key. We also have three minor chords. Those minor chords are just the relative minors of the those three major chords. Relative minor is the chord you find 3 frets below any major. So D major gives us B minor. That's the relative minor of D. G major gives us E minor. That's the relative minor of G. And A major gives us F sharp minor. That's the relative minor of A. So 3 major chords, D, G, A, 3 minor chords, B minor, E minor, F sharp minor. But we can introduce some other chords into the mix. We can borrow some chords. Where are we going to borrow them from? Well, closely related keys. How do we know which keys are closely related? Well, we already know what 3 major chords are in the key of D, G, and A. It's these 2 other keys, the key of G and the key of A. So all we've got to do to find the chords in those 2 keys is exactly the same process we began with in the key of G, in the key of D rather. We start, there's the 1 chord, the tonic chord, the G chord, the chord that the key of G is named after, and we do the same thing again. G, then we go up to there, that gives us a C, and then a D. Then we get the 3 relative minors of those, which are E minor, A minor, and B minor. This is what I mean about these keys being closely related. There's a lot of overlap there. There's a lot of those chords in the key of G, which are already in the key of D, but there's a couple that aren't. The C chord and the A minor chord. So if you're in the key of D and you just want to kind of introduce a little bit of variety, then throw in a C chord or an A minor chord, because they come from the closely related key of G major. Once again, the key of G major is closely related to the key of D because a G major chord is in the key of D. There it is. Now if we do the other major chord in the key of D, that's an A chord. Then let's play the A chord using our basic template that we're going to do. We'll go like this, like that. And which 3 chords does that give us? It gives us an A chord, a D chord, and an E chord. Then we have the relative minors of those 3 chords. Relative minor of A is F sharp minor. Relative minor of D is B minor. And relative minor of E is C sharp minor. Okay, once again, a lot of overlap between that key, the key of A, and the key of D. But there's a couple of chords that aren't in the key of D. Okay, we have this E chord, which is not in the key of D, and its relative minor, C sharp minor, which is not in the key of D. So what I did in that chord sequence for that track at the beginning of the video was I used, from the key of D, I used a D chord, an A chord, a G chord. I used the relative minor of the D, which is a B minor. I used the relative minor of the G, which is an E minor. I didn't use the relative minor of the A, the F sharp minor, but I could have done if I'd wanted to. But I introduced another chord. I introduced the E chord, which I'm borrowing from the key of A. Like that. So we can introduce that E chord. I could have brought in its relative minor, the C sharp minor, but I didn't, showing some restraint. I also used a C chord in there as well. However you want to play it, there or up here. Doesn't matter which way, which location you choose to play these chords, what inversion of them or anything. A C chord is just a C chord. I brought in the C chord, as well as all my chords from the key of D major, because it's in the key of G. It's really all you got to remember is just this little move like this to find the 3 major chords in any key. So just to recap, this, if you're in the key of D, is how to find the 3 major chords in that key. Each of those major chords has a relative minor. And then what you can do is you can take the other 2 major chords in your original key of D, that one and that one, generate a new key from each of those chords, There's the key of G, and here are the minor chords. And then take the other chord, which in this case is an A chord, and generate a new key from that. There's the 3 major chords, and then the 3 minor chords, which, as I've said, are always 3 frets below your major chords. So that gives you a little bit more variety, a little bit more colours on the palette when it comes to, creating a sense of flow and a sense of variety in your chord sequence. As I said, Pink Floyd did this on Comfortably Numb. The Beatles did it on Hard Day's Night. Loads and loads of songwriting examples of this in pretty much every genre of music. Freebird, Lynyrd Skynyrd, is in the key of G, G, D, E minor, and then F, C, D. Well, the G, the D, the E minor, and the C are all from the key of G. But this F chord, where's that coming from? It's coming from the key of C. In the key of G, you have a G chord, a C chord, a D chord, a few minors as well. But that C chord there gives you access to borrowing chords from the key of C, one of which is there's a C, and there's the F. That's where it comes from. Now, this sparks the kind of debate that seems to rage eternally of did Lynyrd Skynyrd, did Roger Waters or David Gilmour, whoever wrote Comfortably Numb, did the Beatles, Lennon and McCartney, know that they were doing borrowed chords, or sometimes called modal interchange, and it goes by a few different names. Did they know they were doing this? I don't care. That by hook or by crook, by experience, they'd figured out what sounded good. Whether they knew the textbook terms to attach to it or not is not relevant, really. I was doing this long before I knew the textbook terms for it. So, did it help me to learn those textbook terms? Well, I wouldn't say it did really, but, I'm in the business of guitar teaching and guitar tuition, and I've got to describe these things, and that inevitably means that you give them a name. So what else am I going to call it? Alfred or Michael or Dave? Do you know what I mean? So I might as well use the names that are already there. But that's basically how I figured it out. Just that simple little 3-chord thing like this gave me access to knowing what chords were in a key, and then I figured out that I could, kind of do that little template from any of the chords in the key. Throw in the relative minors, you've got a whole bunch of chords you can throw together in pretty much any order, and always get a pleasing result. So now you know what to do. Go away and have some fun with it. And as always, you'll find a full tab for that piece of music that we kicked the video off with in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it, a jam track for you to play along with as well, and a little PDF showing you what all of the chords are in every key, because obviously that's going to be something that's worth knowing about if you want to get into this. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, link in the description, and as I'm sure you know by now, it's $3 or around £3 a month, and you get access to all of these additional resources that go along with these YouTube videos. And of course, a massive, massive thank you to everybody who supports me in that, or any of the other ways, all of which are downstairs in the description. And pretty much that's it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video and found it useful and informative in some small way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. Why not drop me a like as well while you're at it? Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time. We drink beer and talk about music and guitars and whatever else, basically. It's a fantastic way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.